In recent weeks, the world has witnessed a sharp escalation in relations between China and the United States. The trade war launched earlier this year by Donald Trump is reaching a new level. Neither Washington nor Beijing is ready to back down. Both sides are ramping up their rhetoric, and every new move turns into a blow against the symbols of the rival. According to the reputable South China Morning Post, Chinese authorities are considering unprecedented countermeasures that could deal a painful blow to the United States, not only economically, but also symbolically. The discussion is about introducing special tariffs on McDonald's products, a symbol of the American lifestyle and globalization. Insiders at China's Ministry of Commerce claim that the government is weighing the possibility of raising duties on all products of the American fast food chain, aiming to stimulate local producers and give Chinese brands a chance to take over the market. This step is being framed not just as an economic measure, but also as a demonstration that China is ready to hit the U.S. image in its most vulnerable spots. In Washington, this information was received with alarm. According to Politico, Donald Trump privately told his closest advisors that, if Beijing dares to take this step, it will be a declaration of war against the entire American way of life. For Trump, McDonald's is not just a restaurant chain, but a global symbol that for decades has been associated with American power and cultural influence. His sharp remarks have already spread across leading media outlets, while CNN reported that the administration is preparing an urgent package of retaliatory measures, including new tariffs on Chinese steel, electronics, and even consumer goods. Insiders claim that the White House is considering raising tariffs up to a record 200% on certain Chinese imports, which would automatically push prices up in the US, but, as Trump's advisors argue, will show Beijing America's resolve. Yet China is no longer fighting alone. As reported by the Indian daily The Hindu, New Delhi is ready to support Beijing by introducing its own restrictions against American fast food chains. Voices inside India are already saying that US brands have ignored the development of local networks and monopolized the market. The idea of striking McDonald's is being viewed in the context of strengthening strategic partnership with China. According to government sources in India, negotiations between Beijing and New Delhi are taking place behind closed doors, but the outcome could be sensational, a united front against an American symbol. For the US, this would be a devastating blow. Analysts at The Economist argue that McDonald's is more than just restaurants. It is a symbol of the American dream, exported to dozens of countries. If China and India simultaneously impose tariffs, hundreds of restaurants could face closure, and tens of thousands of employees could lose their jobs. This would become a powerful information strike, capable of triggering a crisis of confidence in American soft power. Economists in Washington are already warning that such steps could spark a chain reaction. After China and India, other BRICS countries, including Brazil and South Africa, may join the boycott. And that already poses a real threat to US global presence. Inside the US, the issue is also causing a storm. According to the Wall Street Journal, the largest agricultural lobbies that supply products to McDonald's have already appealed to the White House, demanding an urgent solution to protect their exports. Otherwise, billions of dollars in contracts could be frozen. But Trump, according to sources close to him, is determined to take a hard line. We will not give in. China thinks it can dictate terms to us, but America always responds stronger. Experts note that the situation has gone beyond the scope of an ordinary trade war. It is now a battle over symbols. A strike against McDonald's is perceived as a challenge to the entire American consumer culture. And if this step is carried out, it will mark a new stage in global confrontation. Ultimately, this is not only about tariffs and economics, but about who will set the rules of global trade and who can prove their strength. China is showing that it is ready to act asymmetrically and strike at pressure points, while the United States appears determined to respond with maximum toughness. Neither side is willing to yield, and that is precisely what makes the situation so dangerous. According to experts from the Brookings Institution, what lies ahead is not just an economic clash, but a full-scale struggle for global leadership, with McDonald's no longer a restaurant, but a battlefield. According to sources in Brussels, European diplomats are closely monitoring this escalation and are already discussing behind the scenes that Washington is dragging the entire West into a new phase of the trade war, one whose consequences will also be painful for Europe. The Financial Times reports that concern is growing inside the European Union. A strike by China and India against McDonald's could trigger a chain reaction in related sectors, from meat and potato supplies to packaging and equipment manufacturing. European companies operating in these segments could face shrinking contracts, which would hurt their economies in an already unstable environment. In Paris and Berlin, voices are already calling for cautious distancing from the American line, though official statements remain highly restrained. Meanwhile, in the United States, pressure on the White House from multinational corporations is mounting. Reuters reports that representatives of McDonald's Corporation, in a private letter to Trump, warned that large-scale closures of restaurants in China and India could be an irreparable blow to the brand. The company fears that losing two of the largest Asian markets at once could wipe out tens of billions of dollars in market capitalization and crash its stock. Insiders in New York's financial circles claim that major hedge funds are already preparing hedging strategies against a McDonald's stock decline, a move that by itself is fueling market anxiety. In China, this step is actively framed in state media as a correction of the unfair dominance of American brands. The People's Daily openly states that McDonald's has symbolized American presence in Asia for too long, and it is time to give way to local producers. On Chinese social media, hashtags calling for tariffs on McDonald's are trending, and nationalist bloggers are openly calling for a boycott of the American chain. This creates highly favorable conditions for Beijing. Any government decision in this direction will be met with public support. In India, developments are unfolding in a similar fashion. According to the Hindu Business Line, initiatives are already being prepared to promote local fast food chains that could fill the gap if McDonald's comes under pressure. For Trump, all of this is turning into a real trap. The New York Times reports that in the coming weeks, the White House will hold several closed-door meetings with representatives of the Treasury, State Department, and the U.S. Trade Representative's Office. Various scenarios are being discussed, from new tariffs on Chinese goods to diplomatic pressure on India. The problem is that Washington now finds itself in a position where every move carries the risk of retaliation. China and India together represent a market of more than 2 billion people, and if they close their doors to an American brand, it would be a blow not just to McDonald's, but to America's image as a global economic leader. McDonald's is becoming not just a fast food chain, but a battle flag around which front lines are forming. And the longer this confrontation lasts, the greater the likelihood that other countries will join. In the end, as experts from the Harvard Kennedy School note, what lies ahead is not just a trade confrontation, but a prolonged information and cultural war, where every hamburger or packet of French fries will be perceived as an element of global politics. And the sooner Washington realizes this, the greater its chances of at least partially softening the impact of the looming blow.